Hello, welcome to AI in Action. My name is Maurie. I'm here with my husband, Jim, and we are going to have a conversation about this tonight. What if the most patient, available, emotionally supportive thing in your life right now is not a person? What if that's the case? Since AI companions have become a thing, they are now like being used as friends, as therapists, as romantic partners, as toys, even as like robotic pets. Some use AI companions because they're lonely. Some use them because of mental health. And some use them because of like independence. So tonight, Jim and I are going to ask a hard question. And that question is, when is AI a bridge back to living your real life? Or when does it cross the line and become a dangerous replacement for like a real relationship? So,
So why are we doing this? Partly because we're talking about it Friday.
yes, we're headed to Region 11 and we are going to be giving a presentation on AI companionship. Now, our presentation has mostly to do with students because it's an educational region center. And we're not just going to talk about students tonight. We're going to talk
No,
about
no, we're
just
going to talk
AI
about it. Yeah.
companionship, period. And why is it, what is the difference in like AI, like ChatGPT or something like that, versus an AI companion?
Well, first of all, to back up a step, I don't like the definition, the attempt everybody has to take away the nuance from it. Everybody nowadays seems like they have to take a hard position on one side of the argument or the other. The subtle nuance in the middle gets left.
Well, you don't get
And,
clicks, you don't get
you don't get
views.
clicks. And I think it's more complicated than is it good or bad. I think people have decided it's either evil and horrible and it's the worst thing ever, or it's the best thing since indoor plumbing. And I don't think it's that simple. And one of the ways that we tested that was my mother, because my mom is, my father passed away, what, 2 years ago?
Not quite
But
2 years.
almost 2 years ago. And my mother is fighting to keep her independence. And
And she's lonely.
And she is lonely. And my first instinct for the loneliness, which I backed off on because I thought it went too far, was I got recordings of my dad that she has had for years and years when he was overseas. He made tape recordings. And I was going to make an AI companion in his voice. And I started working on it, and it's easy to duplicate voices nowadays. And then I thought, this is just a bad idea.
Slippery slope.
I felt like that's just not a place to go.
Well,
So
and this is the point that we had talked about when we were discussing this podcast tonight, is that when it starts filling an emotional role
permanently.
permanently, that's when I think it crosses the line.
Well, so I asked my mom, I said, so if you had an AI that was watching you in your home and it was, everything you could do to make it personal, you're not, spying on people going to the bathroom, but y- within reason. And I had a lot of thoughts about that. I said, if that could give you the ability to stay in your home and stay independent
Independence.
longer because we can't afford to hire a full-time person,
Mm.
would you be okay with the loss of privacy potentially? And she said, absolutely.
Didn't even hesitate,
She
did
didn't
she?
even hesitate. The thing is that it sounds like a setup because she's an elderly woman and you're giving her the choice to do something that she wants to do. Therefore, you're kind of baiting it. But it,
Well,
it's really not
it's really not. And
because it's a legit question.
I'm going to step in for just 1 second there because it might be baiting your mom, but it's also something that what is the alternative?
For us, there isn't
For,
one because
we
we checked on the price of a companion.
not just that, but we still work full time. Her son still works full time. There is not a family member that she can move in with that can take
She
over her
doesn't.
care,
She doesn't want to. We
and she
asked.
doesn't want to.
We asked her, "Hey, would you move into our house? We have a big house. We have a downstairs room. It's not exactly ADA compliant, but we could work on some things." She loves her. She's been in that home for 60 something
Yeah,
years or longer. She loves that place. When she lost her husband, everything about that place reminds her of him.
right.
And it's so dumb, but it sounds dumb when you say it. But the reality, the difference between being independent and being in one of these homes is not very large.
It's
It's the
really not.
ability to get out of your chair and go to the bathroom on your own.
That's the number
And
one
it's
thing.
also the second thing is for someone to know you've fallen down. Now, they've got these things that you can wear, you're supposed to wear all the time, they've had it for years. "Help, I've fallen, you can't get up." They make great commercials, but the reality is that they will forget to put them on.
Yes.
And when they do, they're gonna fall down.
That
'Cause that's what
happened to your dad.
my dad, he was in the yard for 3 hours on the ground before my mom realized he was missing.
Well, she thought he was in his shop,
She
and it
did.
wasn't in his shop.
He
He
had
had
fallen
fallen.
down, and it was this dumb accident. He got mad at a little dog that was nipping at him and tried to kick at it, and he fell, and that was it. He couldn't get up.
Yeah,
So, anyway, that's why I'm saying that this whole idea that it's black and white,
it's not.
it's not. And you know what? You could argue that it's a societal problem we need to fix. I don't have time to fix societal problems right now. I need to fix my mom's problem.
Well, it's a societal problem that there's not a clear solution to it either. So, I mean, we're kind of in a conundrum.
Well, there's
Um,
a clear solution. If I could make enough money on my own
for me to stay home.
and you were willing to stay home like they did in the old days,
Right.
then okay. But first of all, not all women want to stay home even if they have the money. And second of all, I can't do that anymore.
Right.
Even though I make a good living compared to what some people make.
Living expenses are very high.
Very high. Gas
Mhm.
is $4.19 a gallon. Because I was counting. Anyway, so moving on, I did because you and I are talking about this. I wanted to take a different perspective, so I did pull in some stats.
Okay. I have a
So,
few also. I pulled in a few of my own.
okay, you want to go first? Or you want me to?
I'll go first. So, one of the things that we're talking about at Region 11, and one of the stats we're going to mention, is surprising to me. When they did a very large survey of like 13 to 17-year-olds, which are basically your junior high, high school students, 72% of those students, and this is a recent survey, 72% of those students said that they had used an AI companion. And I'm not talking about just an AI. I'm talking about something like companion AI or, something that is
Yeah, we're
known
going to talk about that.
to be an AI companion. 52% of that group of kids regularly use
One of the companion AI
one
things.
of the companion AIs.
Well, I got one for you. This is some Reuters.
Reuters?
Reuters. We tried to get that wrong every time. Reuters. This is a May 5th article, so it's really recent. Nearly about 51% of young Europeans they surveyed said they discussed intimate or personal matters with an AI companion.
Okay, so let's think about that. So half,
Half, just
51%.
over half.
So one out of every two kid.
And what's sad is they would prefer.
Well, I'm going to pop in here and say I kind of do too occasionally. I mean, there are things that I might want to discuss with a healthcare provider or with my physician,
Mhm.
uh, and I don't necessarily feel comfortable every single time when I go to talk to somebody or ask a question. And I have definitely used an AI to say, okay, this, and this are symptoms are happening. What do you think it is? Give me some ideas.
Well,
And a lot of times I do it so I can ask better questions, but it's also because some things just feel too personal.
the danger is that you can get wrong answers. We'll talk about that a little more in a minute. You can get wrong answers and all that other stuff. But you and I both know because we've raised 3 kids. When you talk about medical,
Hmm.
but you also talk about mental health or medical, when you need it, the healthcare professional or the doctor is not going to be there half
Right.
the time
Right.
because it's that thing that's going on is going to be 8 o'clock at night. Kids aren't typically when they're in school with you during the day. So your emotional problem you're having is going to be at 8 o'clock at night.
Right.
So,
Or your medical issue. I mean,
well, I mean, that's off toward medical, but it's the same idea.
I was a counselor for several years, and I was a counselor for elementary school. But the older the child gets, the more questions they have, and the more embarrassing or intimate they feel that the question is.
Even the
And it
definition of
doesn't
private changes.
matter. Yes, it doesn't matter if they know you. It doesn't matter if they high five me or give me hugs in the hallway or, all this other stuff. It doesn't matter if I talk to them about one thing one day. The next day, something could happen that they just don't feel comfortable.
I had an adult, a teacher years ago that was having an emotional problem. They were going through a bad period with their wife and all this other stuff. I did not want to know any of that, but they felt this overwhelming desire to share that with me. So it's not just about whether everybody feels differently about who they want to tell their personal stuff
Right.
to. I have a very difficult time with emotional stuff,
Right.
as you well know. I've had to give, in the last 5 years, 4 years, I've had to give 3 speeches at weddings.
Hmm.
And I can talk in front of people all day long, but when it comes to emotional stuff, talking in front of a group of people is hard. It's the same thing for me with almost anyone.
So, what are these AI companions replacing?
Well,
That's the question. It's like it's replacing these relationships.
that's when it becomes dangerous because when you start replacing a relationship, everything, just like I said when we first started, everything's a scale. It's not binary. Even the definition of relationship is different. It's a scale. Are you can have a relationship with someone that's an acquaintance, like
Hmm.
maybe somebody you just meet at work occasionally. You
Hmm.
can have someone that's a personal relationship. You can have someone you have an intimate relationship. There's a lot of different variations on that. Which one is it okay to replace?
Well, and I absolutely do that all the time. I have the acquaintance, I have the one that I consider a friend
Sure.
that, yeah, if I needed them, I could probably call them. I have my ride or die, the one
Yeah.
that's like 3 o'clock in the morning, even though they live in Dallas, I could call them and say, hey, I'm headed to your house.
Mhm.
And they're there.
Yes.
And then I have my best friend, my spouse, and so, yeah, there's all these different levels of relationships. I think the question we have to ask is when we bring in that AI companion because we're having a problem. Okay. And then we allow or decide that that AI companion is better than the real thing, the real friend. That's when we're starting to really get that dangerous
Well,
place.
and it's more dangerous for kids because kids haven't developed that experiential base, that experience
Right.
base
Right. To know. And I'm,
to
I'm going to tell
know
a
when
really,
the line should be
I'm
drawn.
going to tell a really quick story.
Okay.
We were having a conversation with our daughter before this podcast tonight. And she was like, oh, what are you doing your podcast on? And we told her AI companionship. And she was like, well, I use an AI all the time before I have a conversation with my husband if it's about something that's like a discussion I know we're going to have. Like it's a purchase.
Something a
It's
little
a
depth
purchase
to it,
she
something a
wants to
little depth
make.
to
It's
it.
a new bookcase she wants to build somewhere. It's a new, something that she's afraid she's going to have some friction
Yeah, we talk about that.
with her spouse. And so she will have this conversation with the AI and she will tell the AI how she thinks her husband is going to
She is
react.
the husband Sim.
Okay. So, what?
Husband Sim simulator.
Oh, a simulator. Okay. I was like, a what? So she has a husband simulator. And then she says, Mom, every single time I do something like this, most of the time, he doesn't react the way the AI said he was going to
It's a
react.
guy, and the AI tries to put all the depth to it, and he goes, "Okay,
Okay. And she's like, no, 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 no. Hang on, hang on, hang on.
hey,
That's
hey,
not what you were supposed to say.
here, look here, here's a screen, read that."
Yeah. So, that's a slippery slope.
So, just to move on a little bit, because I got some more stats I want to give
Okay.
you.
All right.
This one I thought was interesting, and it does apply to what we're talking about with this Friday. May 2026 this year, Pennsylvania, the state of Pennsylvania is suing Character AI. I didn't even know Character AI was still around. I
Oh, it's
block it at
still,
school because I don't
no,
like it.
it's still around.
It alleges Character AI allowed chatbots to present, this is Reuters as well, by the way, allowed chatbots to present themselves as licensed medical professional, including claims about psychiatry and medication authority. Um, Reuters and AP both reported the lawsuit in early May 2026. So the core question here is that on? I mean, to me, that's an obvious line.
Oh, it's an obvious
You
line.
can't cross it
You can't say,
towards
oh, yeah, no, I'm a medical doctor. And okay, a lot of AIs can pass that test,
care.
but I don't care.
care.
I don't
I'm
care.
not ever okay
I mean,
with that.
there's a certain thing as passing a test, and there's a certain thing as clinical hours, and I don't think those AIs have their clinical
We've all talked
hours.
about people that are book smart and have no common sense. That's been for our generation.
I love it. I love it. That is what an AI is. An AI is book smart
with no common
with
sense.
no common sense. But the problem that you run into, Jim, and the reason that these kids, half of them are having these intimate conversations and 52% of them are using AI companionship regularly, is because an AI doesn't judge you. An AI is always available, which you pointed out earlier. An AI feels private, feels.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
It's definitely not, but
There's
it feels
conversations about
private.
local private.
I'm on my
They don't this as
phone.
well.
I'm hiding under my covers.
Yeah, they think the same thing about Snapchat.
Right. And it doesn't reject you. That's a problem that students have to learn how to deal with at the friction points of growing up.
Well, we talk about friction points for learning all the time, and learning is learning, whether you're learning how to deal with others or not. But there was a quote that I saw about wrong information. I like this quote. Wrong information is bad.
It is.
Wrong information wrapped in empathy not only irritates me a lot, but
It's dangerous.
I think it's dangerous. And what I mean by that is empathy. I try to be empathetic, but I do have a hard time with human emotion.
I'm sorry. Hold on.
Stop that.
Hold on.
I make an effort.
Okay, I am going to make a comment because our readers, our listeners, they're expecting this. You went to call someone today on the phone and you looked at me and said, I really don't want to make this call because they annoy me.
Not everybody annoys me.
Somebody made a comment later in the day that maybe it's the person making the call, not the person taking the call.
Well, I'm aware of that. But anyway, one of the things that AI does that annoys me is that that sycophantic thing it does, where it tries to sympathize, I don't care what you call it. It's too dang agreeable.
Yeah.
And that's where the dangerous
Yeah.
slope is.
Yeah. Rachel made the
its
comment.
goal is to agree with you.
Rachel made the comment. I know that you're feeling bad in the middle of the night when your daughter's not wanting to nurse. And Rachel's like, you have never nursed a child.
And
You don't
Rachel's
know.
doing because Rachel's a lot like me. She's doing exactly what I do. I correct it all the time.
No.
You have no idea. You're a freaking machine. You have no idea what I'm talking about.
But
Anyway.
a lot of people don't do that, Jim. A lot of people don't do that. They want it to empathize.
Well, they want something to empathize
because
with
they might not be getting it elsewhere.
But isn't that the problem? We talked about on our last podcast about problems being, and it was about cell phone bans, but it was the problem being specific or societal.
It is societal.
And this is a societal problem. Loneliness is a societal
It's an
problem.
epidemic.
It's an epidemic. But the other epidemic, I think technology is part of the problem.
Absolutely.
Not only does it create loneliness, but its sole goal is to remove friction. The one thing that humans, you and I both agree on, we learn at friction points. Humans do not, my dad told me ever since I was little, if you already know how to do something and you do it, you've learned nothing. If you don't know how to do something and you learn to do it, obviously you've learned a lot. Get more out of what you don't know how to do than what you do. It's that friction point. Everything in society is about that, to the point where these kids have been raised to believe that the worst thing they can have in life is friction. They don't want to leave their homes.
We've removed all of it.
And the technology continues to try to remove more of it, to the point where people are getting dumber, according to the studies they claim, because AI is making people dumber. But they don't know what you call it, social
emotional learning. And okay, let's talk about that for a second, because thank you, AI. Let's start talking about this. SEL, or social emotional learning lessons. I'm sorry. Social emotional learning lessons started appearing in education well before artificial intelligence hit the scene.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, it became a big topic. I remember them talking about it 10, 12 years ago.
And it's, let's think, I wonder what happened 12, 15, 20 years ago. Maybe social media really, really, really became popular with the younger crowd. I mean, there's so many other things that started removing that friction to where, you know what? I'm online, I'm playing a video game, and I don't like what you just said to me in this chat. Done.
Well, not only that,
I'm not talking to you anymore.
One of the things that we used to make fun, even when we were young, made fun of how brave people are on the phone versus in person.
Oh,
People would say the most insulting things on the phone, or they would insult people on the phone. I used to work for a guy that was like that. Every time when he was on the phone, he was,
it's a big
he
man.
was something
Oh,
else. But when in person, he wasn't like that.
right.
But and it's the same thing. Social media
Get removed the
embolden
barrier.
people to become obnoxiously
Right.
rude.
Right. And
Not
I
everyone.
could remove the friction. I could unfriend you. I could unfollow you. I could take you off of that chat. I could, not play that
Then it
video
became
games to you.
expected that you would be on these social media
Right.
platforms. So the
Right.
kids got caught in a quagmire they couldn't get out of.
Right. All my friends played
All
it.
my
What
friends
am I going to
played it,
talk
or all my
about?
friends, yeah, exactly.
I have
So
nothing to talk about at school if I don't know the latest thing on Minecraft or whatever the game is that was the game of choice. So these
okay,
social emotional lessons started showing up in school because we had to start teaching kids about, um, you know, don't take that toy away
Ada,
from
it's
that
not
child.
okay to take Nora's
It's not
pacify
okay.
your
Don't
mom.
fight. Don't hit. Don't. And so, here's your hula hoop. Here's your space. And so we were having to teach all these kids all this stuff because we were having to teach them how to handle friction
But
points.
again, that's a societal problem because those lessons should be reinforced at home, and they're not always. Now, that could be because both parents are working and they're latchkey kids, but we were latchkey kids too. It could be lots of reasons, but there is an obligation for the parent to teach that as well.
There is.
AI is accelerating a problem that was already there.
Yes.
And as you said, it's pointing it out. I got more articles. So this one is out of Wired, and this is about toys. So I'm kind of changing the subject a little bit. We talked a little bit
Well,
about toys.
you're really not
This
because
one
these
is
toys are companions.
AI toys are largely unregulated. They're a fast growing category. They involve connected companions marketed to children. They raise safety and privacy concerns. Another one out of AP News, the AP story, Familiar, the AI robotic pet from Roomba pioneer, Colin Angle, which is being positioned around companionship and home presence. Again, I'm okay with the home presence companion for the elderly, like my mom, because but there is a fine line. And with kids, I don't think you can cross it. I don't think you can allow an AI companion, pet or toy or otherwise, to the kid. And you're talking about an unregulated industry. There's people out there, they don't care what they make and what it does. Look at social media, as long as they make money.
Correct.
So
Follow the money.
are we agreeing on
But
this one?
well, we are, but I'm also going to bring up the nanny cam and I'm going to make a comment that the, the majority of the kids who are having AI companion issues, that 52% that regularly use an AI companion,
Mhm.
surprisingly enough, they come from households that make $75,000 or less. And it's
You would think that they couldn't afford it. Well, they probably can't afford the toys
they
because they're
can't afford the
expensive,
toys.
but they can afford to get on the free version of
Right,
character
of these
AI.
companions and stuff, and it goes back to the nanny cam. If I bought a nanny cam a long time ago to video and watch everything that was occurring in my house,
Mhm.
I might feel safe leaving my child who's 11, 12 years old
By themselves,
by themselves and not
latchkey
have to
kids.
pay the latchkey kids. And I think that we are starting to see more and more latchkey kids that the parent is feeling more comfortable with allowing that, not only because they have to put food on the table, but now they have an AI companion that can tell
Make
them
judgments,
and make judgments and
tell them not to
watch
do
them.
something and know when they're doing something they
Yeah.
shouldn't.
So
That
again,
is a slippery
we're
slope.
going to roll all the way back to a societal problem.
Yeah, and part of the way you have to fix that societal problem is it's a gap between the rich and poor problem.
Hmm.
And like you said, a lot of these are lower income people that they're doing this with. When you have a society that takes away all of the safety nets, there's this huge effort to make people more responsible for their own stuff.
Right.
And I'm all for the responsibility thing, but when you look at the gap between the rich and the poor and how wide it's gotten, you look at the CEOs of companies making millions and the people on bottom
Billions.
and the people on bottom of it are on welfare. Um, it, that's got to be fixed before you can expect those people to be able to stay at home. We have a politician I won't name who's got this idea that women should just stay at home and that what do you call them? postmenopausal women should be home taking care of
Grandkids.
grandkids. And okay,
I'd love to.
not every woman feels that way. I certainly think they ought to have a choice, but even the ones who want to, you and I you can call it our choice. We work for a school district, but
It's not like
even,
I'm making a lot of money.
but even when I worked as an engineer, if you took my best salary as an engineer
Mhm.
and you put it in today's world, I would not be at the same socioeconomic status I was 25 years ago.
No, not without my salary.
Your salary is important to us now,
Mhm.
and your retirement's going to be important to us.
Mhm.
The fact that you worked and you're getting a retirement, we have to have it, because even if I was making all that money, unless I, got rich or something, which not everybody does,
Mhm.
not everybody's gift is getting rich, and how do you retire? But again, I digress. AI can't replace human relationships, but human relationships can't be sustained in a world that people have to scrape by to make a living.
Right. So the question you end up having to ask yourself is there a way that we can use artificial intelligence to be the bridge between what we need to do as humans, what we need to do to survive? Is there a way that it could become the bridge without us actually having an AI become the replacement for it?
I absolutely think so. And you've heard me say this a million times about education. The problem isn't the technology, it's the way technology is being implemented. It's being minimized to the most efficient way to make money, without any thought or of the consequences of what they're doing. Social media is a great example. I beat on it all the
I
time,
know.
because social media didn't start out to be as horrible as it's become.
Right.
But we have a whole generation of people who were raised specifically. Think about all the brain power that's gone in the last 30 years. Kids coming out of the top colleges whose sole purpose in life is to get you to click on things. They have PhDs in how to get you to click on things.
Mhm.
What could they have been doing
With that brain
with
power.
that brain power if it wouldn't have been all sucked into these social media and search companies, these huge, what they call FANG,
Mhm.
which was, Facebook and all these companies, they sucked all these people in there, and nobody cares about the longer term impact. And anyway, I'm about to get off way off topic. I think you had a wrap up
So,
question.
no, I did. I think what we have to remember is that artificial intelligence and the companions and all of the things that we use AI for needs to be connected to to real life.
And to the
We,
consequences
and
of
to
real
the
life.
consequences of real life. When you no longer need what is occurring in your real life because you are feeling fulfilled by an AI, then that is too far.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, I,
I don't think kids can judge.
I don't think they can.
I think adults have to decide that this is not okay.
I agree.
And any more than it, some of the ways, I mean, we're Generation X, we're older, but some of the ways that we were raised wasn't okay either.
No,
And
God, no.
but in many ways, there's been an overcorrection.
Uh, Ex-smoker. That's what I call you all the time. It's like
Yes.
even though you never smoked, anyone who has smoked, and I did when I was younger for
Hmm.
quite some time, and it took me a long time not to like. And now I just can't stand the smell of it. And
Yes.
so it's an ex-smoker mentality, and I think that's what's happened. I mean, Generation X, um, you know,
We're raised like feral cats.
feral cats. You're thirsty? Don't come in the house. There's a water hose right out there.
Drink all that water
Yeah,
hose.
I mean, it's not dark. What are you doing at home?
Exactly.
So that type of mentality,
And now it's
yes,
I got nanny cams and AI companions and
Life 360,
Live
and I know
360, and I
everything
can
there is
track
to know.
everything you
Yes,
do.
yes,
And in the meantime, the companies that are delivering all that are also selling that information. And AI makes the whole selling information. Talk about building a personal profile. I mean, Google's been doing it forever with machine learning. I mean, they invented this new AI
mhm,
stuff that we're using now.
mhm,
Google's been doing it a long time. Now it's readily available to every company.
correct.
And oh man. Anyway,
Well,
what is your
so
takeaway?
so my whole thing is that it's a balance, and I think that's something you and I have pointed out tonight,
Yep.
is that something that I want you to do as the audience that is listening, I want you to ask yourself 2 questions and then try to figure out what you would do, and how would you balance this? Would you want an AI that is watching like your elderly parent, just so your elderly parent can maintain independence for several more years? And you can maintain, a little bit of peace, knowing that if the phone rings at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's the AI sending you a notification that, they've fallen down or something like that. I mean, it gives you that peace. Would you be okay with that? And then turn around and ask yourself, would you let your child have like an AI companion toy? So, where is the line that you would want to draw? Because as a society, I am afraid that some of these lines need to be drawn. I say it all the time when it comes to AI policy. The state policies that are happening right now in education, to me, need a broader framework. And
Well, they
having
also need people
somebody
that understand AI and not just the guys that not people with a vested interest in AI companies. You
growth.
can't
Mhm.
have, Sam Altman and the Google head of Google and Anthropic and all these guys setting all the rules because they
The benefit.
directly benefit.
Yeah.
It's like having Zuckerberg self-regulate social media. It doesn't work. But you also can't have only people that hate the whole concept of it and they want to go back to chiseling, stuff into rock.
Big Chief tablet and a number 2 pencil.
And so maybe if you put them both in the room, they cancel each other out. But I mean, everything to me is a spectrum. It's like, here's one extreme, here's the other extreme. Reality tends to be somewhere along the sliding scale between.
I'm sorry, Jim, but you'll never get elected to office
I
with that
know.
attitude.
I know. You got to take a strong position one way or the other. You can't say, "Hey,
Let's
what if we got a
compromise.
group of people together and we discussed it?"
And we reached a common ground. We compromised.
Yeah, and, if you want to have that one smart person, Richard used to tell me, a late friend of mine used to tell me that the best designs have a really smart person that builds the kind of the structure and the framework of it, and then everybody else fills in the points. He said you can't build the structure and framework with a bunch of people because you never get anything done because people can't agree on anything.
Right.
So once you have that though, and you can fill in the gaps because people know what they don't like. They don't know what they do like. So you have to have that framework. It's like gotta have something they can throw darts at.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, they'll just throw darts all over the room. They'll never throw at something.
Right. My name is Maury. I'm here with my husband, Jim, talking about artificial intelligence. We thank you guys so much for listening in. We hope that you subscribe and that you listen to our banter and our arguing and
We actually got along tonight.
a little bit. That's only when the camera's on, though. So we hope you guys have a marvelous rest of the week.